to, but we are able to continue with the other important aspects of our benefits package. And I want to make sure that every employee continues to work with their manager to make sure they take full advantage of vacation time. It's really important. So, okay, we have a full work session day, but we also have our Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting and our Board of Commissioners meeting. This is Chair Catherine Harrington, and I'm joined by Commissioners Pam Treese and Commissioner Willie. Thank you for being here. So we have a quorum. Are there any questions with regard to other two meetings? Anything on the agenda?
Can I just ask a question? Is Commissioner Fye on vacation? She's not coming today, or?
I just received a text message from her that she's running 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. And Commissioner on vacation.
Commissioner Rogers is on vacation. That's right. Yep. We'll see him later this month. Any questions on either of the agendas? The Board of Commissioners meeting is pretty straightforward. We have 14 items on the consent agenda, and that's it. The Housing Authority Board of Directors will be giving us an update on community engagement throughout the whole Department of Housing. Okay, no questions. Great, we'll move on. We have our team of experts here. Please come on up. Our Director of Health and Human Services, Mira Samantel, and the Disability, Aging, and Veteran Services Supervisor, Rebecca Miller. Morning. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair Harrington. As the chair said, my name is Mira Samantel, he, she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services. Really happy to be here before all of you today to present our recommendations for Aging and Veteran Services Advisory Council applicants. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Rebecca to do the PowerPoint and answer any questions that you have with the goal of coming back at the August 20th board session for an action item.
Good morning. Rebecca Miller, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Supervisor for Disability, Aging, and Veteran Services, as Mira said, and you said, Chair Harrington. So at the August 20th, 2024 board meeting, we will be asking you to reappoint 2 members to our Aging and Veteran Services Advisory Council. Thanks, Mira. There you go. And yes, that's the right side. For a 3-year term that will end on June 30th, 2027, the Washington County Aging and Veteran Services Advisory Council, also known as AVSAC, consists of 13 regular members and up to 6 alternative members. The positions on the council are specified in the bylaws, so we're recruiting for people that are committed to racial equity.
Could we advance?
Thank you. There you go. 50 plus or elders as defined by their communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, people who identify as LGBTQ plus, immigrants and refugees, veterans, individuals that are 18 plus living with disabilities, and consumers or caregivers of people who have used Dave's services. You can go to the next slide. So in accordance with the Older Americans Act, which designates the Area Agency on Aging and requires a senior advisory council, this advisory council shall include individuals and representatives of community organizations also who help to enhance the leadership role of the Area Agency on Aging in developing our community-based system of services. So they advocate for systems level changes and provide advice to Daves regarding our policies and programs. They connect with the broader community to understand the issues and priorities of our Daves focused populations. And really, it's our goal to have a diverse council that's reflective of the Washington County community and the people our division supports. Next slide. So I'd like to share first a little bit about our recruitment efforts, if I may. So in addition to listing with the open recruitments for all boards and commissions and through the community engagement newsletter, we have our regular newsletter that goes out, the advisory, and we have a link up advisory that goes out to folks from our older adult behavioral health program. We have a veterans specific newsletter, and then we have a family caregiver newsletter. Postings go there. We also attended a lot of summer outreach and still continue to do that. And we have flyers in both English and Spanish to do recruitment efforts there. We post flyers in our lobby, and then we invite clients directly through their case managers as openings are there. We do have a lot of openings right now. I will say that we have a lot of good participation in our ad hoc committees. We find those are time limited. They're very action oriented. And I think that's really a distinction, is that this is an advisory council and a lot of folks want more active sort of volunteerism. Advising it's a special type of volunteer, I think. So so that's our recruitment effort. So we have 2 members who have an expiring term and are seeking reappointment. We had 1 member who allowed their term to expire to pursue other things, and 1 member who did step off early because they moved out of the area. And then I was just going to say, we did have 1 applicant. She applied for several boards and commissions at the same time, and then attended all of them and chose a different department that was more in alignment with her, her goals and values, or not values, but what she was interested in. Okay, now you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we have the 2 members who are seeking reappointment. Mr. Ludlam, Bob, he's a resident of District 3. He has an interest in continuing his work by volunteering with Dave's. He does a lot of work in outreach and training, and he's also on the Planning Commission. He currently mentors recovering men as a SCORE business mentor. He guides business startups for small businesses in Oregon. And he also is a conversation on aging facilitator. He's really actively involved. He also studies small business practices via the internet and the public library in order to provide the best service to SCORE clients. He identifies as a male over 60 and he's white. And I would say that he's one of the most active commenters on policy. Whenever I send him something, he always gives feedback, and he's really actively engaged, and really appreciate that about him. Mr. Dalton is a resident of District 3. He works for the Salvation Army Veterans Family Center on the weekends. He assists the front office, and he's also serves on our AVSAC committee, and he's on our executive board. And Mr. Dalton moved to Washington County in 2020 from Kentucky. So he served there on the Georgetown Street Area Neighborhood Association, along with other groups. And he, here in Washington County, he serves as junior vice commander of the VFW Auxiliary Post 3452 in Tualatin. And he's the senior vice president and secretary of VFW Auxiliary 2666 in Hillsborough. He identifies as a veteran. He's male and over 60 and white. So they've been very active, as I've mentioned, and our advisory council fully supports their continued involvement. And I think that was what I had. Oh, there was an error on the thing. We will have 6 regular positions open and 5 alternate if these 2 members are reappointed. I'm open for questions.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to say, Rebecca, you're doing a great job on this. When I sit in on those meetings, there is a lot of conversation, and especially from the 2 individuals there, they do a great job. And so you represent the county very well in those, and do a good job of giving them direction and information. So I appreciate that very much. And then publicly, I want to say I sent Rebecca, my brother-in-law is a veteran, and we're looking for a place in Spokane. And so I sent Rebecca a quick email yesterday, and she responded right away. And so we've got a contact up there. So I appreciate very much your involvement.
Happy.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I'll close up. These are wonderful applicants, and I appreciate how involved they are, not just with this council, but also in other aspects of our community. Wow, that's terrific. And I do hope that Mr. Dalton continues to love it here as much as I do. I appreciated how you made sure we were grounded, that the Older Americans Act really designates the area agency on aging and helps direct the aspects of the bylaws. I just wanted to double check because with things that I've learned through AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties, sometimes it seems like there is additional enablement that the state provides, but I'm a little unclear if it's required. So is there anything with regard to the expectations of the state that this committee has positive input towards?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. We do much as we can to do advocacy also at the state level. So through our State Association of Area Agencies on Aging, or O4AD, we we promote opportunities for them to participate in that. And we have done lobby days in Salem. And then they comment on federal policy as well, such as the Older Americans Act, and which is up for reauthorization this year. And new regulations just came out that are going to make adjustments to our bylaws. So we'll be coming back for those some point in the future there. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much. Appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing this slate on August 20th.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thanks, Commissioner.
You bet. Keep up the good work. All right, next we have leadership communication, and I volunteer to go first. So it's good to be back after being gone for 2 weeks. And yesterday, as I was I needed to remind myself of a few things to make sure I was totally prepared for our meeting set today. And I kept thinking our last meeting was the 16th, but no, the 23rd. I had to remind myself it's been the 16th. So it's been a while for all of us. So the first week of the 2 that I was gone, I attended the National Association of Clean Water Agencies. Jack Lang was there, as well as Diane Taniguchi-Dennis and Ann Lee. It was a really good conference. I learned a lot more about our colleagues across the nation and the value of the association. And I was really pleased by the number of individuals that came up to me and thanked us as the Board of Clean Water Services for supporting Diane's involvement in the agency. We are very fortunate, like our county administrator, both very high regarded in the industry, and both very giving of their energy, their expertise, and their leadership in those associations for the sake of the industry, but also the career development of others. So I wanted to make sure that I shared those thanks with you. I will be going back to my notes and writing up a little summary email for you in terms of a few things that I learned. And then last week I was on vacation. I can't remember the meeting that I called into while I was in Buffalo.
The jail capacity.
Nope, that was last week. But I had no problem taking my laptop and moving forward with that. You may know that we're not having the executive session today on the CWS CEO annual review. That is scheduled for next Tuesday, August 12th. So
Chair, can I just mention on that, we will be starting at 1 p.m. versus 2 p.m. Clerk Moss will be updating your calendar.
And you need to make sure you're available through 5 o'clock.
And that is August 20th.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
not the
the
12th.
20th.
We're going.
Yes.
Okay.
So August 20th will be starting at 1 p.m. versus 2.
Yeah.
And I'll be calling in. I'll be on the East Coast. I'll be calling in until about noon our time, and then I have to leave for. So,
Yeah. So Jerry and Nafisa and I are totally on the hook for in person that day.
Yep.
So beyond that, there's the Senator Wyden Town Hall this week. There's also a meeting that I'll be attending with our staff with the U.S. Housing and Urban Development HUD on our homelessness, work. We'll talk more about the Metro SHS reform business. And then next Monday, the 12th, I have my dates right? Well, whatever date that is. Next Monday at noon, Senator Merkley is having a town hall down in Sherwood. I have my monthly chair mayor's meeting and we're meeting in person that day. But I wanted to raise it here in case any of you have the bandwidth to attend that. That is a joint town hall, has been billed or announced yesterday as a joint town hall with Congresswoman Salinas. So, oh, you guys are away in Toronto. What? Good grief. I have got to get my head straight on this.
Well, it's
Yeah.
gotten here really quick, I have to admit
Oh.
that. So.
Yeah, I
keep
know.
Saying, oh yeah, we're going to Toronto in August. And I'm going, wait a minute.
It's
It is
August.
It's happening.
Yeah, but you're going to have a terrific time. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be with people from throughout the world. If it's anything like the experience Commissioner Treese and I had at the same conference in Copenhagen, it's going to remind you how small planet Earth is and how we're a shared planet.
Mhm.
Water, air, resources. It's incredible. So have a really good time. I know the team has helped you get registered for different tours. Please take advantage of all that. It's just an incredible experience that will continue to help you as board members in service to clean water services, but also as the county. You know, we're reminded at AOC of how we're one of 36 counties. And, you know, presidential elections remind us that we're one of 50 states and then all the other principalities for our country. But wow. Whew.
Pretty cool.
Yes, yes.
We did not fall off from a coconut tree. Feels like a moment of that. We exist in the context of everything is what you're saying, Chair Harrington.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the vice president's,
We did not fall off.
from a coconut tree.
Got it. Got it. So anyways, welcome back. At least Dell got it. Welcome
Thank you.
back, everyone.
You
No
can
audience
up to
participation.
speed on news.
So who would like to go next?
I just like to comment though that the weather has significantly improved while we were in Toronto. So it's now in the low 80s. So it was supposed to be warmer than that when I first looked. So that's good news. So it'll be a good trip.
And I haven't heard anything lately about wildfires in Canada in either their tundra or their forest. So I hope you have good, clean air is my point.
Mhm.
No hurricanes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's next?
You want to go next?
Sure, I could go.
And that way I'll follow up. that.
Yeah, okay, good idea. First, I want to start, thank you, Chief, Clean Water Services for this packet. This is very well organized. This is my first time attending a conference on behalf of Clean Water Services, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I got a taste of how very well organized Clean Water Services is. And I appreciate all the traveling arrangements your team has done for me. So thank you. Please extend my gratitude to Anne. There's a little bit of a shuffling with my time, so thank you. In terms of, yeah, we've been away for a while. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I was like, whoa.
it's unusual for us.
Yeah, and I apologize for my tardiness. There's been so many constructions happening this morning that I did not anticipate, including the one on baseline here. So there's a lot of roads that are slowed down and shut down. Rosedale is completely shut down if you ever take to get to River Road, so avoid that. While we were away, I was going to say last week, but while we were away, we had JPAC, and as your board members, I attended that. As your board representative member, I attended that, and it was, as I mentioned, there was a one thing that was on the agenda about resolution for the purpose of adding 2 new projects and canceling one existing project from the 2024-2027 MTIP. It was a very, it passed. There's not a lot of comments or ruckus, I would say.
Rutgers.
I hope I did not
That's good.
misuse that word. Okay.
No, you
good.
didn't.
Okay. Thank you. It passed. And then the other info and discussion items were the RUFA next steps. The candidate nomination process for the new project bond fund began on July 26th, and the team is on speed and on it. Regional transportation priorities and funding, JPAC. We discussed the JPAC legislative priorities. It's always the problems with transportation funding. It feels like an onion. Every time we peel a layer, we find them. So the point is the problem really exists. And we're gonna have to figure out 2025 transportation package. It's gonna have to have a significant investment in transportation, especially maintenance and operations. But the Regional Transportation Priorities and Funding JPAC Legislative Priorities Committee overall supported the draft legislative principle and hope the region will work together with cohesive message to maintain the 50-30-20 funding split and support additional transportation revenue resources. So that was a unanimous message that I wanted to bring our board back. Regional, there was a topic, just discussion purposes, regional emergency transportation routes, phase 2. So this is the second planning phase, which will build on the previous work on the emergency transportation routes. Just the discussion purposes on that. And then, let's see, I have 1 minute. Oh my goodness, on JPAC only. So I'll skip because nothing else happened at JPAC. I did have the opportunity, so that I can pivot to you. I did have the opportunity to attend. Well, I have so much stuff. I'm so sorry. I won't pivot it to you quite yet. Take your time. I did want to talk about a couple things. Washington County Fair Breakfast, I attended that. Thank you, Commissioner Willie, for extending that invitation. I attended the first day of the breakfast. Thank you. And it was really a great showing. I think we went through almost all of the supplies on the first day. I hope I didn't contribute. I
Didn't
did.
spill anything. You're good.
I did make a one of my patches, the pancakes, the feedback I got was a little too big than 4 inches. It was wonderful to get to have a conversation with the FFA kids and their parents. One thing that I walked away from there was with a request for access to the milkers that are on site for the cows. It seemed like something shifted from folks were using portable milkers for the cows, but they are not as good quality. Perhaps, Tanya, we can look into if there is a way we can support these folks in regaining access to the permanent ones.
We actually took care of that.
Took care?
Yep. You introduced me to that.
Yes.
You had the complaint.
I figured it's best to problem solve
Yeah.
on site. So I brought to you.
It was an
Thank you.
operational
Yes.
problem. They were not using the machine.
Well, you're off the hook, Tony. Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you.
took care of that. And
Perfect.
They
Well,
they were
and
very
just-
happy.
Just a reminder, in accordance to the MOU, the fair operations are under the oversight of the fair board. So when it's the fair operations, I just pass that on to Leah and she
Mhm.
works directly with the fair board. And I know Commissioner Willie is good at helping make sure that we operate in accordance to the established MOU.
No, that was good. Thank you, Nafisa, for bringing that person to me, and we did take care of that. So they were very happy.
I'm very happy to hear that. And I participated fair myself. It was very smooth and really well done and very well organized. And the sheriff's department did an amazing job. As soon as we walked in, there was a kid that was lost, but the sheriffs were on it. A grandmother was panicking, and the sheriff's deputies calmed her down and said, "So show us a picture." And it was found 2-3 minutes later. The girl was, so it's very well run, Washington County. Congratulations to the sheriff's office and to Washington County. The planning was very well.
For the fair this year.
Oh, Chair Harrington, it was hot.
No, it's perfect.
It was hot.
Compared to last year, it was great.
So it wasn't as hot as last year, but it's still summer hot.
It's
I,
July. It's
for
supposed to
some reason, I felt like it was really hot and I planned to attend like 10 o'clock. Like we went there early morning at 11 o'clock. I think we were pulling into the park at 11:30. We're already sightseeing. So, but it was so hot.
Oh, boy.
But I did, as usual, during the day and during the night, we experienced both. At nighttime was very pleasant, very well. It was very nice. I enjoyed the nighttime. It was not hot. So I think that's the best recommendation is to go both day and night. And the parking situation is always very smooth. So congratulations. It's a lot of cars, a lot of people to navigate, a lot of kids to navigate with the sheriff's office. And it was very smooth. And then finally, I will wrap it up, Chair Harrington. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I had the opportunity to attend July's impact meeting on the 24th, as Commissioner Treese was out for sick for a few days. There were two items on the agenda. First was a vote on the functional plan amendment recommendation. The amendment modifies some of the language of the urban growth management functional plan to comply with the state's climate-friendly and equitable communities rules. This includes adoption of boundaries for regional and town centers. Our board adopted a town center boundaries for Bethany and Cedar Mills, but we will need to adopt the Raleigh Hills Town Center boundary by the end of next year, 2025. This amendment passed without an opposition. Then we got to the main part of the meeting, which is a presentation and a discussion of the draft urban growth report. As you know, the UGR includes, the urban growth report includes data about population and employment forecast, which is then translated into land needs so that MTAC and MPAC and ultimately the Metro Council can decide to expand or not the urban growth boundary. The discussion on the UGR draft went really well with impact members. I reiterated Washington County Board's strong support of the city of Sherwood's application for the expansion of the UGB to include the 1,291 acres within the Sherwood West Urban Reserve area. The city of Sherwood has demonstrated their commitment to serve the expansion area and make it a place where families can live and work. I also expressed the board's encouragement to the Metro Council to consider selecting the high growth rate for both population and employment in their analysis. This is the key to guiding regional policy and funding discussions on housing, employment, land, and infrastructure that went into that goes well into the future. And even though Commissioner Treese was sick out, she was on Zoom. She is a tough cookie.
So
You are strong.
relative to that topic, and thank you for filling in as the alternate. That's the whole point. Two things. The first, I'll go with the second one first, and that was the UGR discussion. Thus far, do you see a sense from the committee that they're gravitating towards a recommendation on that population forecast and spectrum? Or are they all over the map still?
I think
Too early?
I think they're moving toward yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I think the testimonials, residents that called in to testify are all over, I would say, because I did hear.
I'm not worried about
Yeah.
the public testimony.
committee-
My question is on the advisory committee, because they're the ones that provide a recommendation to the council.
There's still, may I?
Yeah, please jump in.
There's still some debate going on about employment land and the slope piece, 7% versus 25. There's debate there, but Ted Reed has been very responsive to the questions. There's not as much negativity and volatility, I'd say, in the questions that are asked back to Metro staff. So I think we're on that path to come together.
Okay, good.
I anticipate that there'll be a recommendation to approve.
Okay.
That's my anticipation. There's still the Sherwood concept plan, is another piece that there's still debate, and there's rumor that perhaps Metro will propose an approval that changes density rates within that plan, and there's concern about that. So we're in that normal kind of
Back and forth.
back and
Learning
forth
for it.
and looking for hidden meanings and some of those things still.
Okay.
But I'm relatively positive about things. So
Then on the urban growth management functional plan, and on the Raleigh Hills Town Center, I would very much appreciate our getting, or at least my getting, a briefing. And I'm looking right at Aaron Wardell, right over your shoulder, Ms. Angie, on the Washington County history, so that I can totally park my old Metro Councilor history with regard to town center and regional center boundaries. So
I welcome that
Yeah.
briefing as well.
whether you choose to do it by memos, one-on-ones, however, totally up to you. Great, thank you.
there's also a piece that Megan McKibben did for me back in the day that was a white
Back in the day, what is that?
when she was still working for Jerry and me. Megan
Oh.
McKibben.
Yes, staff assistant.
Yes.
Okay,
And which just adds to the information. It was a white paper on what's been going on with the intersection there, which
Mm.
affects town center. It's just a piece for your information.
LUT needs to be the source
Well,
for
they have
us to
the-
get the full grounding.
Yeah, and I'm just pointing out that there is, and there, LUT is very aware of that piece that Megan did it in coordination, just for your.
Oh, yeah, I've been there, done
I
that,
know.
all the way back to,
Well, I hadn't, and that's why I asked for the white paper.
that's why I want to make sure that I've got the full Washington County grounding. And I'm only speaking for myself in terms of asking for it, but I think we're going to be better off if we have a shared understanding.
Mm.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Fye. Anything else?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Commissioner Treese?
Oh, I want to express, while we're on the impact, my appreciation. As it turns out, I had COVID, my first time having COVID, which was a little, yeah. I'm good. I'm good now.
I don't want it.
No, it was a surprise too. I didn't expect that. And Nafisa, Commissioner Fye just jumped right in. So, oh, stop.
Trying to be subtle about that. Yeah, there we go.
But I do want to say that Nafisa spoke up and expressed to Impact what the position of Washington County was, and I really appreciated it. So thank you. Thank you very much for holding down the fort. So to speak.
Mira is in the building if you need a mask.
I've been on vacation.
Health and Human
since-
Services is here.
I'm way past this, but I do appreciate it. I greatly appreciate your support there. I just want to go back in time and say, we all had a great time at the cafeteria opening at the sheriff's office. That feels like forever ago, but it was.
Did you eat a burger?
I did. Oh, it was so good. And I sat outside, sat inside, had the opportunity to chat with some of the jail deputies. It was very good. This upcoming week is really busy after being gone and then looking at being gone again. I had a great debrief from Joe and about what our plan is, and I share your comments about how well organized this is. My third experience, and it's always a great packet that I use just like a guidebook as it's intended to be. So thank you for that. After the work session is over today, I'm going to be headed out to the Whiting Town Hall in Forest Grove as well. Let's see,
What time is that?
4 o'clock. It starts at 4 o'clock. I'm looking forward to attending the groundbreaking of the new baseball stadium with the Hops. That's going to be, I think, a fun event. And I'm wrapping up on Friday with a coffee with a THPRD director, Miles Palacio. He is joining the MPAC roster, so he'll be there representing special districts. So I want to make sure he has the opportunity to understand what we do with our Washington County sync-ups before the MPAC meeting. So that's my week. We did have a great acre meeting last night. I wanted
yeah.
to say
Thank you.
thank you very much to government relations team. They did a great job of presenting the legislative agenda. Lots of questions, lots of good questions, deep questions around housing related issues. So if Molly's listening, we're going to invite her back to talk about some specific areas. And then Aaron and Marnie did a great job on the deflection program. There again were lots of discussion, lots of questions came up. So it was, I felt very positive about the questions. And they were, we have one new member who's a physician, and she was talking about some intricacies of referral that were, I hadn't thought of, but Marnie and Aaron said, yes, that was part of what they're hearing, and it will be included in the plan. The other thing, I talked to Tanya briefly before the meeting. We did mention the article that came out yesterday in the Oregonian, the Best Slovic article, and I wanted to mention it to ACRE so they had the opportunity to understand the perspective of the county. Tanya did a great job, and so did Courtney about it, and Aaron about explaining what the history has been there. There were good questions, but most importantly, I think that they really appreciated the fact that we look at them as ambassadors to their own communities and recognize that they will have questions from their community regarding issues like this. So I think it was a very positive interaction. They understand the situation, but also know that there's a door to ask questions of us if they need to.
Have they ever gotten a tour of the jail?
No, but that's
And the
another
Community
good idea.
Correction Center? I think you could do both of those in one night or have a special acre tour of both of those.
And Amanda, if you're listening, let's write that down.
And also Harkin's house.
That's a really good idea.
They don't have to be long tours
No, that's a very good idea. We should definitely.
because we're doing an awful lot to evolve our public safety system here in Washington County. And we need to be proud of what we've been able to do, particularly our critical facilities improvements, but then how you've all been very brave in launching into improvements forward.
Well, and the meeting, by the way, went about 10 minutes late, but it went late because they were asking questions and they wanted to.
They were engaged.
They were
It's
engaged.
terrific.
Yeah, so I was very pleased, and again, my appreciation extends to the staff for the continuation of good information, recognizing where ACRE is in their understanding of the county as well. So thank you.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Willie.
Thank you. Well, yeah, so just as a refresh, all of you know that the timber conversation revenues continues. And so I've been meeting with the superintendents of the school districts that are directly impacted. All school districts in Washington County are going to be somewhat impacted, but these are more on the financial side. So I will be continuing to have those conversations. But yesterday I was unable because I was driving back from Spokane. The small table group met with the Association of Teachers. Is that the union? I can't remember. Just a second. I'll pull that.
Oregon Association,
Yeah, I'll tell you in just a second.
ATF.
It was the School Administrators Association. And so we are meeting with them, also the Oregon Department of Education, because what we're talking about does impact schools and does impact the state school fund. And so we're looking at a variety of things there that maybe be less impactful.
But the governor's office will be in front on that, right?
That's a definite maybe. Yeah, that's another conversation. Also enjoyed the cafeteria, but also enjoyed the barbecue.
Yeah.
I was the only one at the barbecue, so I had to eat all of your hamburgers.
No, I was there.
Oh, you got there later. That's right, because and you
Which barbecue?
Uh,
Juvenile.
juvenile barbecue.
Oh, I did not go
No,
to
you
that
did
one.
not go to that
I
one,
have
sir.
COVID.
I was
I
gonna say,
stayed at
yeah,
home.
that's good. That's good. We were happy that you did that.
Thank you.
Also attended the Forest Grove and Cornelius Chamber of Commerce luncheon.
Who's the speaker?
Our Senator,
Solomon?
Senator Solomon and Representative McLean. And they did a good job. Representative McLean touched a little bit on transportation stuff, but not a heck of a lot because there's a lot to be done on that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Yes, thank you very much, Nafisa, for the recap on the fair. It was very good. 186,811 people came through there, largest ever. We did fix breakfast for the fair board and your help, Nafisa. On the first day, we had
All my help.
we had some other kids that helped us on all the days too. It's just a great event. We fed about 250 adults and 4-Hers every day for those 4 days. And yes, we went through a lot of pancake stuff. And we want to say a shout out to Elmer's because they provided all of our pancake ingredient information already made, so we didn't have to mix it like we've had to do in last year.
Instructions.
Yep, and it was very good. So if you drop into Elmer's over here off of Baseline, tell them thanks. We appreciate that. Also, the Sheriff's Department, parole and probation, juvenile health and human services, communications. There's just a whole bunch of county involvement in this fair, and I really appreciate and thank everyone for their involvement in making this a successful event. I did meet with Claudio Yakos with Forest Grove Chamber of Commerce exec to talk about not only where the chamber is going, but also her involvement with Colpac since we just appointed her there. Let's see, this week, again, Hops Groundbreaking will be Thursday afternoon. I will be speaking at that, and I will probably bring my own shovel from the first time we did groundbreaking. I think they're providing shovels for us. Again, I don't need another shovel. I think I have several, but I do have the hops and it's all signed and everything else, so I'll just take my own personal shovel. Anyway.
This time you'll have your Washington County logo on,
I
right?
will.
Don't you wear that mayor's hat?
I won't. I won't wear my Hops jersey that says mayor on it. Okay.
Cross it out, right, Commissioner?
We could just stick plenty of these Washington County stickers over that.
I'll make sure they know who I represent this.
Oh, you've earned it. You worked hard to advance that proposal and make sure, working with Ms. Angie's team, to get it implemented.
Yeah, I do appreciate it.
Both times,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Both times.
as mayor and here.
So last night, because I wasn't able to attend Acre, so thanks for that update and that report. I was at the R1 Act where we talked about kind of some very good stuff, bylaws. They are updating their bylaws. And one of the major changes is kind of just a minor thing, but it's interesting. It uses the term stakeholder. And we can no longer use the term stakeholder. We have to change it to representative because the state legislature or someone at the state said that stakeholder is not politically correct and has a bad history to it. So we have to change it to representatives. So I will be looking at the Northwest Act charter as well to see what we have to do to change that. With that, we also talked about the urban mobility strategy, what Region One Act is doing is looking at, the mobility strategy talks about the I-5 Rose Quarter, 205 Abernathy, 205 Phase 2, the Boom Bridge. And all of those projects basically were included in the House Bill 2017, which now doesn't have the funding from tolling that was anticipated. So now they're scrambling to where are they going to get the money? They've already taken the paint job off the Fremont Bridge. That was $100 million. They've already reallocated that. But that's what they're looking at. And they're looking at, they projected that if they bonded this debt, which is about a lot,
Yeah.
$3 billion. If we bond this, the annual payment for 25 years will be somewhere around $210 to $240 million a year for 25 years. And they think a 9 to 11 cent increase in gas tax would pay for that. And I challenged that because I said, I don't think you take into consideration where we're going to be 25 years from now in gas tax. And then, as we all know, in House Bill 2017, it took them, 6 years to increase the gas tax a nickel or something. So that would be a hard slog. They admitted that that's just a projection of one revenue source. And then we talked about the rural transportation needs. And there's a committee that's been assigned by the chair, and Forest Grove Mayor is on that, as well as the Tigard Mayor. And so we're kind of monitoring that. I asked how many rural miles in my district that is in Region 1 versus how many rural miles I have completely. I have 168 rural miles in Region 1 area, and I have 444 in Northwest Act for a total of 612 rural miles in that. And the reason why I did that is because when we get into a conversation of what does that look like, how do we fund it, how do we make sure our bridges are still there, all those kinds of things that kind of gets lost in when we talk about the Rose Quarter and everything. We forget about the rural because there are emergency routes and a variety of things that have to be taken care of there.
Question. So you said that's a combination of Northwest Act.
This is all R1 Act. The Rural Committee is all R1 Act.
Okay. But didn't you say that you had 400 in one?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's which?
444 in Northwest Act.
Northwest Act.
Right.
So, but that Northwest Act includes other counties besides ours.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we don't have a total of 500 plus rural miles.
No, just saying Washington County does. That's just Washington County roads.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
612 miles of Washington County rural roads,
Okay.
all of which are in District 4. They don't.
They're a little bit in District 2.
Oh, no, District 2 is all urban.
No.
Anyway, and as everybody knows, I'm leaving for Toronto. See, you missed the best part.
I did.
Step out and the children start misbehaving.
She's countywide. She can't pick a district, so
yeah,
she
yeah.
didn't mess
Oh,
with
yeah.
Every district
Is
is
your
my
favorite, right?
You're all my favorites.
You're elected.
Am I out of time, Kevin?
Yeah.
Listen,
Countywide decisions.
pull the plug, Kevin.
Okay, leadership communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I want to follow up. There were some board questions post-heat event and our public housing units. So I have learned that of the 889 units of owned multifamily affordable housing, 794 units have air conditioning and or cooling centers. So the majority do have access to cooling. In addition, 224 units of public housing managed by HAWK. Some of these units have heat pumps, but most do not have HAWK provided cooling. However, occupants are allowed to use portable or window air conditioning. Housing's goal is to upgrade heat systems in units to replace with heat pumps as time allows and funds. So in essence, when there's improvements made so that these newer heat pumps can double as air conditioning units. So the majority of our units do have access to cooling. Housing also does promote access to our cooling shelters in the extreme heat events.
And I assume in all cases, but particularly with public housing, we spread the word that there are programs for free AC units.
Correct. There was also a question relative to location of deaths during heat events. Our medical examiner does not release locations, so that's why I'm providing you the high level of our housing information. Now I'm going to move to elections security. We do have an election coming up in November, and our staff are preparing. As your board is aware, we take safety and security very seriously, and so elections and the sheriff's office are already working on their pre-planning efforts in this space. Good news, elections office was notified on July 25th that the Urban Area Security Initiative grant for 2024 has received expedited approval for this election season to allow us to improve the security before this November election. We did receive just under 18,000 to apply what's called security film to windows and doors in the public lobby and staff entrances. So what does that do? It makes it more secure and prevent the bad actors from gaining access to the space by breaking glass. Your board will continue to receive elections updates. We do have a time scheduled where the election staff, I believe it's in August on your rolling agenda, provide just an elections update. We are in the process of just updating our public-facing election security information, as well as I will be sending an all-employee email shortly on what is our role as public employees and being stewards of democracy as we start to embark on the November election.
May I ask a question? I have not toured the Applicant facility.
Really?
No.
I haven't either.
So I would like to, I've just put that out there and I'll ask Maida to schedule that, but I've not been over there. I was at the original one on Murray Road.
Okay.
But I haven't been to the new one.
I've been to the new
Well,
one
we do
only.
have a roundtable in September. So maybe we include a little tour there.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
I know I'd like to, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
From timing for election staff, it would be appreciated if we could do one tour versus
Yeah.
multiple tours, because we are getting into the busy season.
Yeah. It's so impressive. I try to stop in there election night or the night before election night, and the a la carte, or what do you call the on-call service that they have for people who need a replacement ballot or ballot pickup. They have places for people to complete their ballots. I mean, it's just so impressive. And I hope you get the BCC communications when you use that. Okay. We got the Secretary of State notification yesterday with regard to the House District 33 reappointment or replacement appointment that we'll need to do. And our team is totally on it. Our elections manager, Dan Forrester, is on vacation. The person covering for him, Michael Richter, did a swift job. He had the memo. He just verified for me the number of voters, given that the first memo had the wrong county name. The number was right. The county name was just wrong. And the Secretary of State's office reissued that notice memo right away. So everything's clicking. Clerk Moss is on the case, working with our Multnomah County colleagues, and we'll just get that covered. Yeah. doing our part for democracy.
Yeah.
Sorry to
No, that's
fit that in.
It's a good ad. Want to provide an update on the Aloha Safe Rest Village. We are embarking on a 6-month check-in. So staff will be convening a 6-month check-in on August 28th with the neighbors near the Safe Rest Village and at Aloha United Methodist Church. As you might recall, Washington County and Open Door staff have been meeting with a neighborhood committee on a monthly basis to provide timely updates and just be responsive to neighbor concerns within the area. The purpose of the 6-month check-in will be to update a broader portion of the neighborhood on the progress of the Safe Rest Village. I do want to add a bit to the fair just from revenue perspective. So, and also from the attendance, you did mention, Commissioner Willie, close to 187,000 in attendance. That's a 19% increase over last year. The revenue, it looks to be a double-digit increase over last year, and that the attendance does not include any staff, vendors, or security. So it is purely just attendees. I do think the weather, I hear you, Commissioner Fye. I thought it was hot as well during the day. But we did not need to reduce the hours of the fair. So I think that is part of the contributing factor. I do want to just extend appreciation to all of the fair staff. And really, Leah Perkins did highlight this really is a one Washington County approach. While the sheriff's office may have a really visible presence, the coordination just from a safety and security standpoint with the sheriff's office, juvenile, community corrections, and the city of Hillsborough, I can speak from the behind the scenes view, is just so impressive, because when you have that many people coming into one space, just the vigilance to make sure that it is a safe and big, fair, fun time is really important. 4-H, Alan did end up recruiting me for next year, and I will be participating in the Goat Olympics. So stay tuned.
Does that mean you're the goat?
Oh.
So
The GOAT is the greatest.
yeah,
Greatest
The
of all
acronym.
time.
yeah.
Use the acronym.
I know. So stay tuned because you may get that same invite too. So that's
wanna
the
be the
warning.
Oh,
Big
I
cookie
would
then.
love that. I would absolutely love doing that.
I wanna
So,
be the-
sign me.
All right. You recruited somebody now.
Alan will be very happy. We are launching a One Washington County podcast. This is the county's first ever podcast. This is will be a monthly streaming audio service that is supported by our One Washington County communications team. It will feature employees, subject matter experts, special guests discussing programs, services, items of interest to our community members. The podcast will be named One Washington County after the vision statement that your board adopted and the strategic plan update. It aims to share stories and showcase multiple departments, teams, individuals across the organization working together to serve our One Washington County community. There will be a media release, social media post tomorrow, and inviting our community members to give ideas. What are topics of interest that our community would like to hear about? Can I just, our first featured area will actually be community corrections. So a closer look into community corrections. Chair.
I'd like to suggest a name change.
Okay.
One Washington County OR. There are at least 5 Washington counties in the United States.
Right.
There's 30.
Mr. First President.
I
There
didn't look
are
behind
6
me.
times as many as I thought.
I love these voices behind me.
These voices of expertise.
I know.
Yes.
They all
So,
speak.
while I would hope we could service Mark One Washington County, I certainly know that we are One Washington County here in Oregon. So, and I'm proud and loud about that. Thank you very much.
And that concludes my update.
Yay. Ms. Duke Dreesen.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and Board of County Commissioners. I just wanted to touch on what Tanya was sharing about the elections and let you know that County Council is also involved in making sure our election is safe and fair. And just last week, Jason Bush successfully defended the county against a lawsuit that was brought stemming from the 2022 election that challenged our vote by mail system and our use of the machines that tabulate the votes that hopefully Commissioner Treese and you all will get to see shortly. And that Jason asked for a motion to dismiss, which was granted on the grounds that the plaintiffs didn't have standing, but it's an important step continuing to verify that our election system and process is safe and fair. Also in the realm of elections, as we move closer to the federal election, there will be issues always come up with political signs in the right of way. And we are already coordinating out of LUT with our cities to talk about how we will manage these issues as they come up. We get calls from the community saying, you know, move this sign. I don't want this sign here. Why is this sign here? So we're trying to get in front of and make a plan with our cities to address these as they come in. So lots of election work coming up. I also just wanted to touch base and raise up to you something that was in the hot sheet communication last week about Mr. Betchart. While his criminal and contempt cases continue forward, we are making continued progress on cleaning up the nuisance on his real property. And that, as a reminder, we've already cleaned up about 192 tons of waste, but we have more to go. Staff was working in collaboration with DEQ, and we're signing or will sign shortly an MOU, which will give us access to additional funds from the super fund towards continued cleanup. So we're continuing to work on that issue. Probably
Courtney and Amir, because as you know, that was something that's in District 4. So it's something I brought forward, and it's been a long haul, but I really appreciate, and I'm sure the neighbors very much appreciate our diligence on this.
and we'll stay on it. So
We're getting funding from the super fund,
DEQ.
DEQ
Great.
Super Fund.
but it's just incredible to me that
So, and finally, full circle with your comments, Chair Harrington, a lot of county council staff will be taking vacation, especially over the next 2 weeks. It seems like everyone's trying to get it in before school starts and fall comes. So we will continue to communicate with Miss Angie and the assistant county administrators and department managers on our availability so that we can continue to serve the departments and their One Washington County goals and work.
Great. Could I just come back to a couple of things?
Yes.
I want to thank all of our staff, particularly out of emergency management, for providing assistance support given all the wildfires here in Oregon as well as on the West Coast. It's just incredible how well thought of and connected our team members are to help provide that assistance to give those who are from those areas a break from the 24/7 command that they have during these critical times. And then the second thing, the TriMet moved the date for the opening of the Better Red. It is now August 28th at 10 a.m. I think I may have forwarded this to you all previously, but if not, I'll do it again. I am away starting that day for an extended Labor Day weekend for a family wedding back in East Coast. So I won't be able to be there. So I just wanted to make sure it'll be a gathering at the Hillsborough Airport Fairgrounds Max Station beginning at 10 a.m. So I just think it's important that one of us, August 28th, it's a Wednesday.
It's on my calendar.
So you'll need to RSVP to TriMet directly.
Yep.
And particularly to John.
Sears.
for any speaking role. Okay. Jack, Clean Water Services.
All right.
Close us up.
Good morning. So July was a very big month for clean water services. As we close out the last fiscal year and start the new fiscal year, we actually received quite a few recognition as a state and the national level. Starting at the state level, it's the Oregon Association of Clean Water Agencies, AQUA, annual conference. CWS was honored with the 2024 Outstanding Member Agency Award. And that specific award was presented to us for the PFAS monitoring and effective source control. So that is something that's worth recognizing. Although at the same conference, our former Chief of Staff, Mark Jockers, received the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, well earned.
Yeah. And that was a well-earned and well-deserved
Was he
award.
there? Did he?
He was there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We made sure that he was there.
Good.
So at the national level, as Chair Harrington mentioned, our CEO, Diane Taniguchi-Dennis, was appointed to the president of the National Association of Clean Water Agencies. And NACWA is the agency that provides legal, legislative, and regulatory advocacies to ensure public infrastructure is on the forefront of the national policymakers and priorities. At the same time, NACWA also received nominations for excellent operations from a compliance perspective. We also received platinum and silver peak performance awards for our operation facilities.
We'll make sure that comes to a board meeting
Yes,
for recognition.
it will come to a future board meeting.
Yeah.
And I want to mention the platinum award is really worth noting because it actually recognizes five consecutive years without any compliance incidences. So it is quite an honor to receive that award. And I want to thank Chair Harrington and the Director Rogers attendance at the NACWA conference. Thank you very much for your support over there. We did receive a lot of envy from our peers. Says, wow, your board of director is so engaged with your line of business. And it was definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep.
We want to thank the entire board for the board learning, for participating on the board learning on July 19th. Our staff had a lot of great time and great topics collaborating with you all. So hopefully that you were able to take away some good information. We are planning our next session in November. So we're very excited about that. As some of you mentioned, next week will be the International Water Association's World Water Congress that's hosted in Toronto and Canada. And Director Fai, Trees, and Willie will be representing CWS along with our staff. And we hope that you have a great time over there. The last convening actually had 9,000 participants from over 100 countries around the world. So it truly is a very significant global event in our industry. So that concludes my leadership update today. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So we will pause our work session and reconvene, we're hoping, at around 11 after our upcoming series of the Housing Authority Board of Directors and the Board of Commissioners meeting. So we'll convene at that meeting at about 10:20 and go from there. Thank you.